Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Tattoo Nurse coloring book page. Took some heat in one of my last videos because I'm including content that doesn't really have anything to do with drawing. So in this drawing I'm going to try and stay on topic and not include any clips like this. Things that don't have anything to do with anything. So I'm drawing a portrait type head. Eyes halfway down the head is probably the most important proportion. Doesn't hurt to know them all. Andrew Loomis's book, Drawing the Head and Hands, is a great but complicated book. Like his drawings are just terrific, and it's literally a textbook. It's a lot of it can be hard to understand, but just looking at it and picking up tips here and there is probably the best way to absorb it. So that's a nice book to own. So I'm drawing the upper eye part, which is, the trickier part. It's good. Instead of thinking of it as just a round arch, think of it as a segmented three-part thing, if you could say. But don't just draw lines. I know a lot of people draw, a block figure with lines. I don't. I kind of would rather cut out the middleman. But you can do that. I think more in terms of skulls. I'm always thinking about what the underlying skull shape is. There's just a very basic skull shape to kind of give you the idea. And when I'm putting in the hair right now, I'm framing in the hair, I'm thinking about how it's falling over the cheekbones. Angelique Hootkamp type hair. She had a couple books come out in the mid-2000s that were very popular, and her style was very influential among tattoo artists. And in general, I'm just always looking at old time. These are 1930s women, 1930s hairdo, 1930s makeup, and that's kind of what I was thinking about when I was doing this design. Any one of these really could become a tattoo design, or any other type of nice portrait that you want to do. But back to the head, the eyes halfway down the head. It's pretty common for people to not place them properly, and that's the most important one. They place them too high and they don't factor in the hair. So when you're putting the eyes, remember halfway down the head, including hair. Just putting in the details. One leaf, then the other leaf. Just go one, then the other. It's not a hard shape, just keep practicing it. And if you're thinking about details you want to put in, it's always good to inform yourself by looking at lots of old Tattoo Flash. I have hundreds, if not thousands, of images on my computer. Lots of books on the subject. Notice the tear duct. It's the inside of the eye is kind of where all the action is. It's got the tear duct. Outside, not as much going on. Usually the eyelid covers about an eighth of an inch of the, not eighth of an inch, 1/8 of the rule of thumb is 1/8 of the iris is covered by the upper eyelid. And that varies depending on what expression you want for the eye, but basically a restful eye is 1/8 of the eye is covered. So if you like drawing pinups and you want to draw really good pinups, type faces, and crazy skulls, and just a lot of crazy stuff in general, then hit subscribe. Old time nurses. I was looking at different, head things to try and figure out what kind of hat I want to put on the nurse. And I started looking at all kinds of nurse images and how other artists have depicted nurses. It makes you realize guys really have a thing for nurses. Is it just the outfits? Or is it because it's just a strong female that's compassionate and caring? It's probably that. But guys definitely have a thing for nurses. Putting the details. This face is not difficult because if you think about it, most of the face is covered up by the face mask. Some wartime nurses. I like that photo. Real photo. It should all inspire you when you're doing your drawings. So usually in the eyes, if you look at that eye, for instance, the eyelid's coming down, covering more than an eighth of the iris, and the eye looks sleepy. That one, you're seeing more white, so the eye has more of a bit of a startled expression. You see the iris comes to is not really covered. That's kind of an at-rest expression. You don't really see much white on the top and bottom of the eye. If you show too much white, it'll make the eyes look a bit like they're freaking out. And this particular set of eyes, she's a little bit worried, so there's a little bit more white at the bottom than there might be if it were just a restful, relaxed eye, I guess you could say. Here's what I said again, it's going around her cheekbones, kind of outlining the shape of her head, so it doesn't just look like hair coming down and create the illusion of like a three-dimensional head. So that's something to think about as you're drawing. Is how can I make it look like this is a three-dimensional head? The temples and the cheeks. Like I said, I draw a lot of skulls, so it's always in my mind what the skull structure is underneath the face. Skull drawing actually helps your portrait drawing quite a lot. So if you like drawing faces, women's faces or men's faces, doesn't matter. Draw lots of skulls, because then you'll just start understanding the basic bone structure, and you won't need to study a lot of technique because you've drawn it so much you understand how it works. Up the bottom line just to give a little bit of a sense of the eyelid, the inner eyelid. Because what this is kind of a cartoon eye that has some slight details of realism, but those are definitely cartoon eyelashes coming up just like big. I like the style though. Even if it's not realistic. There's a close-up of the eyes. And if you notice, they're not symmetrical. Symmetrical eyes are okay if you're doing a certain cartoon and that's what you want, but generally eyes aren't symmetrical. Even if you look at people's eyes, they're never in the same. They're always moving. And even when you in a picture and they're stationary, they're always one is never the same as the other. Again, I'm using the face mask to give the illusion of a nose, even though you can't see your nose. I want it to make it look like the face mask is coming out. I don't want it to just look like a flat face mask on her face. I want it to look three-dimensional. I remember when I was in art school and university, I remember saying that we were painting, and I remember saying to the art teacher, I don't know how to paint. And she said, if you can draw, you can paint. And that's why these videos of mine are focused on the drawing part of the artwork, because drawing is everything. If you can draw, you can paint. Drawing is the foundation of everything. So keep working on that, and that unlocks everything else. You've got to draw every day. So don't stop, don't give up, don't get down on yourself. Just keep on plugging away, make some bad drawings, make some good drawings, but just keep drawing and you'll keep improving. Fill up those sketchbooks. That's where, like I said before, that's where the old flash is handy. Tattoo flash is just little details that you can add to your artwork to give it a cool look. So I'm using 3 kinds of Sharpies. I'm using king size Sharpie right this moment, because I don't want to wear out my other Sharpies too fast. I'm using the fine tip Sharpie, which is basically the regular Sharpie, the most common Sharpie you see out there. Even in a simple drawing like this, even with the hat, I'm always trying to give the illusion of depth. Keep in mind, it doesn't have to be complicated to look good. Sometimes simpler is better. But people like to complicate things. There's the ultra fine Sharpie, the finer Sharpie I use for some details. Sometimes I'll start with ultra fine Sharpie and then realize I want to make it thicker. But there's the fine point Sharpie, the regular one I'm using right now. It's easier to go thicker, but you can't go thinner. So just fixing up the eyebrows. Even with the eyebrows, I'm trying to give the illusion that it's curving around the skull, so they're not just coming straight across. And even they're not symmetrical, which is fine. Adds a little bit of character.